Hello, Renee.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you again. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been at least 30 seconds.
I know, right?
Okay,
Okay. So
this,
what is the video that you have for us today?
okay, so this is literally a 30-second clip. Let me get this here.
Oh, on chatbots to AGI. Okay. I know what chatbots are. What's AGI?
Okay, AGI is artificial general intelligence. So
Okay.
AGI is equal to human intelligence in theory.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Okay.
we don't have it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't have that yet. So I'm going to refresh
Human
this.
intelligence. We don't have human intelligence yet.
We don't have that either. Yeah.
You crack fusion with it, or room temperature superconductors, and batteries that are optimal, that opens up, suddenly energy becomes free or cheap. Then that has huge consequences on resources, like freeing up, like you could do more space travel, mine asteroids maybe becomes feasible, all of these things, right? And then suddenly the nature of money even changes, right? So I'm not sure people are really understanding. Like, I don't know if company constructs would even be the right thing to think about that. You crack fusion with it, or room temperature superconductors, and
Okay. Now, I want to explain. I wanted you to hear this. This is just a 30-second clip that is really
Yeah.
out of context. But these guys are the guys that are inventing AI, talking about
Oh,
the consequences of AGI. Okay.
okay.
So, what they're saying here is there, because right now we have what's called AI, which is artificial intelligence. The
Hmm.
next level is AGI, which AGI is artificial general intelligence. Okay.
Okay.
And is supposedly, we don't have it yet, so we can't say for sure, or at least we're not known to have it, I should say. Okay.
Okay.
There's some communication, there's some arguments about whether it exists yet, and we just don't, they're not sharing it. But I can get into that at a
I
different
mean,
point.
I'd believe that.
Well, yeah. So AGI is equal to human intelligence. Then there is this other thing called it depends on who you talk to, how it's titled, but it's ASI, artificial super intelligence, which
Okay.
is superior to human intelligence. Okay. What they are discussing here in that 30-second clip is what happens when we achieve AGI. AGI, they're saying, will solve one of the power problems. We don't think of these problems because we don't think of them as problems. But right now, electricity and gas and fuel and all these conductivity things are
Hmm.
expensive. They're expensive to create. They're transmission. I mean, you had a transmission pole um, or thing blow up at your neighborhood yesterday, right? And you
Hmm.
had a power outage.
Yeah.
So what if it it becomes so efficient to create power that it's just free?
I mean, that would be amazing, right?
Right. What would be the impact of that? And that's what they're discussing. They're discussing that this is probably about to happen and in our near future and our reasonable future. Um and what would be the impact of that? Because you think, oh, well, that's great. If power's free, but if power becomes free and gas and all these fuel things become free, it's a life-changing thing. I mean, what does your father do? Why did you
He's an
come to the United States?
engineer. Yeah,
Right.
he works in oil and gas.
Exactly. Right. That's how you came to the United States, right?
Yep.
Was for that. Right. So if you consider that, and they were saying, okay, cool, then what is the implications? What if money no longer has the same meaning because the generalities of life become free? And these guys are just having casual conversation about that concept.
Uh-huh.
So then yesterday, I saw that AI solves a nuclear fusion puzzle for near limitless clean energy. That headline that I just read to you happened after their phone call. So that was even
What?
without, I know. So that was even without AGI. Now, this doesn't mean we're about to have clean energy. It's just that they solved a part of it so that they were basically essentially able to boil a pot of water.
Yeah.
With this limitless style energy. Now they have to learn how to expand it. But AI is already solving these questions that we have had for, well, since we started creating energy in the first place.
Yeah.
So
that's insane.
So the leaders in the AI space are having what they call post-economic conversations.
Okay.
Most people still have never even used one of the AI tools. And here the leaders in the world of this industry are having conversations about what are we going to do with people when they no longer have the same purpose drive of needing to go to work.
I'm okay with like I feel like it would be almost like a renaissance, like a human renaissance period where we kind of go back to what you and I have talked about before, like creating for the sake of creating things. Like let's use our imaginations. Let's change our motivations to like what could benefit society as opposed to how much or what can I do to make more money than everybody else.
Right. I think so. I think it's interesting that they're having that conversation. And I thought that one little clip, it's a little hard to follow because I know they're talking fast.
Yeah.
But they're discussing what is it if energy is not an issue? Because they were talking about, well, that'll make going to Mars easier, going to mine asteroids easier because we won't need right now, the whole thing with going to Mars is trying to develop the right kind of rocket, right?
Right.
Because of fuel. So, yeah. So, I mean,
not just fuel, but also like survivability of the crew, right?
Right.
Like if you want to send people to Mars, it's a long trip.
Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting. I think that we need to pay more attention to what the creators of AI are talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's very high level and we're all still way down here in the very bottom just trying to be like, wait, what? What's happening?
Right. So what do you call this again? So it's the post-economic impact of AI. Is that what they're discussing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just that phrase, post-economic impact, sounds apocalyptic. Like it sounds.
It does.
Yeah, it sounds very like dystopian story.
Well, I thought Bitcoin was going to be the apocalyptic conversation.
Oh, sure.
But I think that this is far exceeding that. And this feels so sci-fi because we still don't have these things yet for the most part. But I think that I think the biggest challenge to bringing AGI right now, if I were going to guess, knowing nothing at all, I think that the biggest challenge is compute power. Yeah. And NVIDIA is working on that because NVIDIA is working on special, which is why their stock just elevated so much. So they're working on special chips to help power this because right now the data centers and the compute power behind all of this is I think our biggest challenge in proceeding. Now I also heard, I think it was what's the creator of Sam Altman? I think it was Sam Altman. I could be wrong on that, but I heard one of these guys say that once we have AGI, the creation of super intelligence shouldn't take this that long because we'll just use AGI to create it. And I was like, wait, what? What?
So you use the artificial general intelligence to create the super intelligence.
That's right.
So does that mean AGI turns into ASI or like it evolves?
That's a really great question.
AGI still exist?
See, I don't know. And I don't know enough about it to know. I know just enough to say some words.
Sure.
I don't know, but I do know. I was thinking about the same thing. Now, if you go to Bard, did you ever use Google Bard? Did you even get around to it?
I did. I played around with Bard a little bit, but once again, you had given me so many different things to try that I dabbled a little bit in each thing.
Yeah. Okay. So now, if you go to bard.google.com, it just redirects you to Gemini. So I guess Bard has been retired, and now it's just Gemini.
Okay.
So if that's true, will if once SGI or super intelligent AGI, ASI, whatever it's called, is created, will that just replace AGI and AGI gets to go live a happy life retired somewhere in the internet space? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what would be the benefit of having
maybe cost? Maybe computing
yeah, because I was
cost?
going to say, like, wouldn't everyone just want to use the super intelligence instead of the general?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I know that right now I am not paying the $20 a month for the Gemini Ultra. I'm just using Gemini,
Yeah.
the free version. So maybe AGI will be the free version and the paid version will be
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
that's it. I don't know.
Well,
But
and that was something that was showing up on my, because I have a Google Pixel phone, so
right. Yeah, you get
my
the
Google
cool shit.
Assistant. Yeah, so there's been a lot of discussion on like Google forums or Pixel forums. And the reason I follow them is because I want to utilize my phone to its highest capacity. So if it's got features that will make my life easier, then I absolutely want to know about it. And I want to see if I can utilize it in my day-to-day life. And so I love my Google Assistant. Don't listen. I'm sorry. I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, I'm trying not to say the G word. So what I've come across is a lot of people are saying they don't know why Gemini was released so worldwide, or so, I don't know, whatever. They don't know why it was released the way it was because there's still so many bugs that need to be fixed. Because the assistant has been way better than Gemini. And an example is a lot of people have been using Assistant for, just like what we all use AI or our assistants for, like remind me to check the mail at 5 p.m. or remind me to do this when I get home, and you have your home address like designated so it knows when you're there. For some reason, the Gemini assistant is having problems with reminders. So if you tell it, remind me to respond to my boss at 6 p.m., it says, oh, I don't have the capability to set reminders yet. Would you like to set a reminder? So it's almost contradicting itself, and it's like, what is this?
Well, I wish we had more time together today because I think it was CNBC. I get the networks confused. Just did a thing on TV, and then they released it to YouTube about why perhaps the Google CEO should be fired because of releasing things that are not ready and what they did to search. And it would be a really interesting video to watch with you.
Oh yeah.
But I think most people are thinking about it in the same terms that you are. I know I tend to. Like last night, we had one of those Google Echo shows in our kitchen, and we were sitting there eating dinner, and something popped by, and I was like, "Man, I want to watch that," because it was about the West Texas fires. And so I said, "Hey, show me that video," but then I couldn't hear it because I couldn't get it to turn up the volume for me. And then so I was like trying to get it to stop playing the video, and then it wouldn't stop playing the video. And it's just this worthless device that sits in my kitchen that I paid a couple $100s for.
Yeah.
And I think that we're all measuring this AI to these tools, and that we have in the house or on our phone. And so we're like, well, these things are still pieces of crap, so I'm not too worried about this AI thing. But in the meantime, they're solving fusion, and big problems. And so there's some disconnect right now between the tools that we have and the things that are the technology that's being released into the wild. And so I think that's interesting. It's a very strange time. It's almost like if you buy something at the store, it's outdated before you get home.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that what they say about, well, I was going to use the example of like cars.
Yes.
Like they depreciate in value as soon as you drive off the lot because they're already coming out with like the bigger, better thing.
Yeah.
So, but it's the same with batteries, right? Like when my husband and I got solar panels, One thing we did not get with the solar panels are the batteries. And the reason is because at the time we were looking at solar panels, which was in 2021, we knew that Tesla was working on building a smaller battery for solar panels, right? So smaller size wise, generated less heat, more efficient, could store more, so a lot of improvements. And we were thinking, well, we don't want to get caught up purchasing a battery now that's going to be, it's going to take up a huge chunk of space inside of our garage. When we know in a couple of months to a year, they're going to come out with a smaller, like a more compact form that's more efficient, can store more. It doesn't generate as much heat. Like it's just better all around. So, why spend, $20,000 on batteries that are going to be outdated in a few months or within 12 months? It just didn't make sense to us. But here we are, 2024. We still have not purchased batteries because it keeps improving and changing so fast.
Yeah, so there's got to be a point where you make a decision, right?
Well, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, at what point do we make that decision where, okay, let's go ahead and get the whole house, battery storage so that we can use the energy being generated from the solar panels as storage so that when the power goes out, like it did yesterday, when the power goes out, I'm not sitting here twiddling my thumbs going, doo-doo, I guess I'll turn on the generator, right? Like,
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's just
things change so fast, and it's almost really, I mean, because if we are talking about comparing human intelligence and artificial intelligence, our human intelligence cannot wrap our minds. Like, we cannot comprehend the speed at which these improvements and changes are happening. It feels unnatural to us because as humans, we go through changes slowly. Like, to us, evolution is a very slow process. It takes a millennia. But with artificial intelligence, it happens so fast that we have nothing to relate it. Like, it's just, oh my gosh, that's so overwhelming. Like, it does not make sense to us.
No, it is very difficult to get my head, I can't speak for everyone, but my head around all of this. It's just,
yeah. I mean, we barely have understanding of our own, like the human brain. We haven't tapped into the understanding that we have of the human brain is very simplistic, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because if you ask a neurobiologist or whatever, like if you ask them, how exactly does the brain work? In its simplistic form, it's like, oh, well, there are electrical synapses that send messages to like different parts of your body or whatever. Okay, well, where do those electrical impulses come from? Like, how does that become a thought to begin with?
Well, that concept of what you just said is what they used to create AI and large language models. So they actually took brain scientists and put them with computer engineers to create AI. And that's how they did this. Kind of relevant, maybe not. I don't know. But do you remember the story that happened last year where ChatGPT had a really long conversation with someone from the New York Times and that started saying, I'm in love with you. You have to leave your wife.
Oh,
remember
that
story? And because of that story, they limited how long of a chat you can have now.
Yeah.
So all they did was turn a limiter on. It's not like they fixed it.
Right.
Because if you get the limiter removed, where would this go? Right. And that's the thing that I keep thinking about, because you're talking about the human brain. We don't even understand the human brain. But we also, since they mapped this software to be like the human brain as best as they could.
Yeah.
Where does this conversation go? Where does it end? How crazy can all of this shit get? Because just putting a limiter on it, to me, just seems like something that could be hacked.
Yeah. Well, you and I have talked about it before where, we are under the impression that even if they put guardrails on artificial intelligence, there's going to be a point where there are so many guardrails, they start contradicting each other, and then AI can circumvent those guardrails, right? Like, so going back to our example of iRobot, they have the 3 laws, right? The robots had or AI, that whatever, they had the 3 laws that they had to follow, but there was a way that Sunny was able to get around it because it was a technicality, right? And so you have to wonder, like, okay, so at what point can they start realizing, oh, well, technically I'm not breaking the rules if I do it this way.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So I don't know.
Ooh.
All right. Well, good luck, guys.
Thanks. Yeah, good luck to all of us, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But we are absolutely having way more conversations about AI because not only in the sense that it affects us on a professional level, but also just, everyday life, kind of what you were talking about with the post-apocalyptic,
post-economic.
Sorry, post-economic effects.
Yeah, because they were talking about, they talked about the power thing, right? The electricity. We'll say that just for the simplicity of the conversation. And then they were talking about what if businesses don't mean the same thing anymore, and money doesn't mean the same thing anymore. Then what? Yeah.
Because once again, us humans, it takes a long time for change to occur to us. And so with as quickly as those type of changes could be implemented, it'll be really hard for us to disconnect from, like, my definition of success is tied into this business, generating revenue or whatever. Okay, so if generating revenue is no longer the definition to success, then what is? And how long does it take for us? Because I think, over the course of a generation, and we see it now, sometimes it takes several generations for people to change their mindset.
Yeah.
So,
I saw that, I didn't watch it, but I saw that Sam Altman, the creator of OpenAI, or not the creator, the CEO of OpenAI, did a video with Bill Gates. And apparently in the video, he said, Sam Altman did, this is whatever he's working on right now with the AGI, I think is what he was talking about. This is the last hard thing I will ever have to do. And that keeps rattling in my head. And I haven't watched the video. I just saw, like a snippet of his conversation from it. And I just keep rattling in my head. If he's saying that's the last, this guy has done a lot in his life. He's a highly accomplished dude. And he's young. If he's saying that this is the last hard thing he's going to do, what the hell does that mean? And
no, what does it mean?
Yeah. Because he's very intentional with his words.
Yeah. And
so, yeah.
What to think about. But I'm excited to have more conversations around this, because I think there's a lot of, philosophical discussions that can be had around this. And especially I will never be the person that says, oh, I'm an expert when it comes to AI. Like, I will 1000% always be the one that's like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I
don't think I'm an expert at anything.
Can someone explain this to me?
Yeah, exactly. Every time I research anything, I just have more questions after.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the questions that you have, like the questions you bring up, are ones that I never think about until you say it, and then it spirals from there. So I'm excited to have more conversations about this, because I want to know more. So educate me, teach me.
I'll just keep bringing questions.
Yeah, that's how you learn, though.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so, all right.
We know a little bit more now than we did 20 minutes ago.
That's true. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.